Hey, hello Vanessa. Hey, lovely to see you too. We're just starting off now. So this week we've been working on the last 2 lives, I think. We've been working on talking verbs for C1. Just to review, so we have spoken for advanced level, obviously we've spoken about say already in a lot of detail. We compared it to tell. We mentioned say no more, say a few words, say grace. Then we spoke about tell, compared it with say. And then, yes, we spoke about tell for the meaning of know or recognize. Hello, Alina. Alina, there was a lady 2 days ago and she said hello, and I saw Alina. I said, hi, Alina. But it wasn't you because it was A-L-I-N, but then with a capital A. And I saw the capital A and I said, that's not our usual Alina. It was a new Alina. And that's black and white. So advanced level, we were speaking about tell, but in terms of to know or to recognize, we spoke about yesterday, I think. For example, I couldn't tell whether she was being serious. And we were speaking about sarcasm and things like that. Then we spoke about tell in reporting. Say and tell we covered. We did a lot of examples. Then we spoke about speak. Alina, yeah, double trouble. Ankrel, hey, what is the level of this course, teacher? It's B2 plus, but really it's C1, honestly. If you have a very strong, you can keep up, but you'd probably want C1. In all honesty. We spoke about speak versus talk. We mentioned like speak, we always use speak when we're saying speaking languages. Speaking at events, to address an audience. She spoke at the World Economic Forum. You're welcome, Ankel, no problem. We spoke about speak about versus speak on. Hey, Mister Foster, how's it going? Happy Friday. We mentioned yesterday the difference between speaking up, which can mean speak louder, or we spoke about expressing your opinion, especially when something is wrong. And we compared that with speaking out, which speaking out is more like in public. Hello, Anna Maria. How's it going? Then we spoke about speak for yourself, when someone is giving an opinion for everyone, but actually this is not your opinion. So you say, hey, speak for yourself. That's not what I think actually, or I don't agree so. Then we mentioned about speak your mind, which is telling somebody what you think, what your opinion is freely. It's a fixed expression, so we can't, hello Dash, so we can't change any part of it. We can't say talk your mind, mention your mind. No. It must be speak your mind. It's a totally fixed expression. Good, just got back from my birthday. Hey, happy birthday, Anna Maria. Happy birthday. I hope you had a nice year. Or a nice day. And I hope you have a nice year. Hello, Madalena. What's up? You're welcome. Birthdays are special. I always try to be positive on my birthday. Then we spoke. Yes, we did some examples with this. And we were here. We're down as far as talk. And this is where we're going to take off today. So I have talk, and then I prepared another speaking topic, which is going to be a C1 speaking topic about nature versus nurture. So anybody who would like to practice their speaking and would like to answer some questions on nature versus nurture, we're going to do that at the end. Okay? Guerrera, what do you call someone who talks a lot, does nothing? I mean, you could say put your money where your mouth is. All talk. What is it? Can talk the talk but can't walk the walk, for example. There's probably a lot of ways to say it. One adjective to describe that type of person. It's not coming to me right now. I have to think about it. Why? Why are you asking that? Did you hear something about an adjective or something you can share with us? Ghost Tribe, best birthday history you ever got. Mr. Foster, Everything is going great. Here Vicky goes, live, dropping everything and running. This is awesome. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, today was okay. So on to talk. You just thought of it suddenly, Guerrera. So somebody who talks a lot but does nothing. I mean, a know-it-all, not really. Yeah, somebody who talks the talk but can't walk the walk. All talk. You can just say he's all talk, for example. Yeah, he's all talk, you could say. Are you thinking of our current president? Pero ladrador, pero poco mordedor. Okay, so the dog barks a lot, but he doesn't bite. You shouldn't be sorry. Okay. So, like speak, the verb talk refers to communication. However, it focuses much more on conversation. So when you're speaking with someone or with people, it's more about conversation. However, it focuses much more on conversation, interaction, and exchange of ideas. It is generally less formal than speak, talk, yes, and is therefore much more common in everyday English. The most common patterns are talk to someone or talk with someone. For me, when I say talk with, it's a bit closer, no? Maybe I'm closer to that person. Talk about something. Hey, thank you. I can't read your name, but I think you're from Vietnam, right? I think that's, or Thai. No, this is Thailand, I think. There are too many examples, unfortunately. In Spanish, there are too many examples, yeah? Okay, the candidates talked about the advantages and disadvantages of remote working. We spent several hours talking about the ethical implications of artificial intelligence. Hey, Mr. Foster, that's another good one we can put on our list of debates, eh? If you wouldn't mind. It would be awesome. I think that's a nice one. We should speak about AI and the ethical implications. It's a good one. Very good one. I'd like to talk to you about your dissertation. She was talking with one of the conference organizers during the coffee break. You're from Thailand, yeah? I was in Thailand 2 years ago. Which part of Thailand are you from? Thailand is amazing. Amazing. I didn't actually want to go, but I was convinced, and now it's one of my favorite places. It's one of the places that I would like to go back. Normally, I don't like to go back to places I've already been to, but Thailand, I would definitely go back. You're from Bangkok, yeah? I remember Khao San Road and the Wat Arun temple. It's very beautiful. Guerrera, no, I meant examples of people who talk a lot and do very little. Thanks, Mr. Foster. Guerrera, we can debate this as well, you know? Yeah. Do you think it's a cultural thing, Guerrera? Madalena, sorry, I didn't get the difference between talk, talk to, and with. There's no difference, Madalena. For me personally, I use talk with when I'm closer with the person and we were speaking about something important, but that's only me personally. Generally, I think there's no difference. Honestly, I don't think. Hello, heart, purple heart. So, unlike speak, which often describes one person addressing an audience, talk usually implies that two or more people are interacting. No problem, Madeleine, a good question. Cowson Road and Wat Arun are so amazing. Yeah, they are. They're so cool. So, let's compare. The professor spoke for nearly an hour. The professor talked with the students after the lecture. So, Madalena, here, for me, when I see talked with, I feel like they were interacting with him. They were on an equal level, and the students were speaking with the professor. If you said the professor talked to the students, I feel like the teacher was talking more than the students, and maybe kind of condescending a little bit. in the old sense of the word. But I think that's just my feeling, eh? That's how I use it. It could be a personal thing to me. I'm very sensitive about language. The first sentence, only one person is communicating. In the second, there is a conversation. Okay? Guerrera, I consider we are too disconnected from everything, including ourselves. Therefore, no commitment. The topic now, you're the police officer. The topic of this is about people speaking their not doing what they say they're going to do. No, that's a very big debate, eh? Okay, now we're going to check talk versus discuss. I personally love this word. I really, really love the word discuss. I don't think we use it enough, when we're speaking, and I think that students of English are a bit scared to use discuss, but I love this word. I love to discuss things. And when you say we were discussing, it gives so much more information than just saying we were talking, because discussing is like you're sharing your opinion, your feelings, some facts, you're listening to the other people, saying, okay, I see where you're coming from. It's like, I love this. We have to be careful because if you're a Spanish speaker, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, any Latin language, discutir, means fight, okay? In English, discuss is not a negative thing. It's a very, very positive thing. It's like a mature, formal, elegant, respectful conversation. Cultural thing, that's my opinion briefly. Cultural thing, I consider it too disconnected from everything. But are you speaking about in Spain? Or what? Ica, discuss, sounds like a big word. I mean, I think it's a good word. I don't think it's ever too formal. I use it a lot. Fight verbally, Guerrera. In Spain, you think? Yeah, it's true. In Spain, we don't listen, especially in Andalusia. Angel. Awesome, Angel. That's really cool. Delighted to have you here. Alina, we use discuss sometimes to talk about a problem. It's true. You are right. Maybe that's why some of us don't use it. Could be, Alina. It could be, but really you don't have to be afraid of it. I think discuss is a really mature word to use. But to talk about a problem, you say we need to discuss this in a serious tone. You're right, but it's a pity to lose the word discuss because of that connection. Because many times discuss is really good. Yeah. Like, let's have a discussion. I love to have a good discussion. For me, it's like a good debate, especially when you have intelligent people. Like Lino and Mister Foster were sharing ideas the other day about, Mister Foster especially, about vegetarianism, So like when you have somebody intelligent that you can have a discussion with, you walk away from the discussion having learned a lot, so it's great. Guerrera, discuss is necessary when you speak up. I think in that case you're using it like discutir, eh? No? I think more like fighting, because sometimes when you speak up it's associated with having to defend yourself. And having a discussion, it's not necessary to defend yourself. I do think in Andalusia people get very defensive, overly defensive. I feel, and I do think there is a cultural aspect to that too. Arguing is necessary when you speak up. Probably, yeah. In that case, I would use argue, I think. Again, we could debate that, Many learners confuse these two verbs. So, although both involve exchanging ideas, discuss is much more focused. I know you're Andalusian. That's why I said it. I'm kidding. I know you are. Oh my God. I can tell a mile off. Okay, you're very hot-headed. I'm kidding. Kind of. Although both involve exchange. So, compare. We talked about climate change over dinner. We discussed climate change during the committee meeting. It's very obvious, eh? The first sentence simply tells us that what the conversation was about. The second suggests a more organized, analytical, or detailed exchange of ideas. Okay? Similarly, we talked about the possibility of relocating abroad. The board discussed the possibility of relocating the company's headquarters. So talk is often informal, but discuss is usually purposeful. That's like what Alina was saying here, like when there's a problem, no? When there is a problem that needs to be addressed, you need to sit down and discuss it. We could say, like mature adults, please. Okay? So that's Alina's one there. She's correct. Right? NDH. Hi, teacher. I'm so confused about collocations. Could you teach me how to learn them quickly? Quickly, unfortunately, I can't teach you how to learn collocations quickly. As far as I'm concerned, I think there is no quick way to learn anything well or English. Many people have asked me over the years, and I normally say you need to go and find another teacher because I don't know any shortcuts. And collocations, least of all, it just takes time, you know? It takes time and a lot of dedication and a lot of practice. I'm sorry to tell you. I know it's really difficult to hear that. I don't know if you have an exam or something, but yeah, what Mr. Foster is saying, try that. Guerrera, so discuss is also talk over. Discuss me talk something over. Yeah, I think talk over is like a phrasal verb for discuss. It's like a more colloquial way to say it. Talk about, so remember that talk, I'm just remembering something now. I will tell you guys later. Talk about, okay, remember that talk requires about before the topic. Okay, NDH, this is an example. Look, yeah, well, it's a phrasal verb, talk about, it's not a collocation. Correct. We talked about the proposal. So when you're discussing a topic, we discussed the topic, we talked about the topic. They talked about politics, but this is much less formal. Much, much less formal. Incorrect. We talked the proposal. No. You can say we discussed the proposal, but if you're using a phrasal verb, you have to say we talked about the proposal. You need the preposition. This is one of the easiest ways to distinguish it from discuss. Talk about something, discuss something. So this is like the normal verb, and this is the phrasal verb. Okay? Formal, no? I think you want to say formal. Okay, next one. This is talk to or talk with. Madalena, here you go. So, both are correct, Madalena, right? Historically, talk to suggested communication in one direction. So, like, that's, I mean, less close, no? When I said that, so the teacher is talking to the students, like, from a higher position. But talk with suggests a conversation between equals. Okay, Madalena? That's basically what I mentioned before. Today, however, the distinction is much weaker, especially in British English. That means that today people don't realize this and they mix the two. So we can compare, I'd like to talk to the director, I'd like to talk with the director. Both are perfectly natural. Now, some American speakers slightly prefer talk with. Yes, that's what you were thinking? Cool. Okay. When emphasizing a genuine discussion, but the difference is minimal. Okay? Always in America, and always never say always, but I'm very slow as a teacher to say it's always like this. Because then some smart student will say, excuse me, Vicky, what about in this case? And oh shit, there's an exception. There are so many exceptions, you know. But generally in America, they always go for the more modern, less formal version of things, right? X, how do you say, this is pronounced I'm astonished, which is the extreme adjective of I'm surprised or shocked. Madalena, so no difference in today's speaking. Not really, Madalena, apart from what I mentioned to you, you know. If it's someone who's above me, I'm like a professor or something, I'm probably not going to say, can I speak with you? I would say, can I speak to you? you know, for to be polite. Nordic, hello. Oh, sweet. Okay. Durga man, where are you from, ma'am? I'm Irish. There you go, Guerrera. First one of the night. I'm Irish. I'm from Ireland. Okay, from the south, from Cork. Where are you from, Durga man? Okay. The next one is to talk over. Where's the picture of the shot glass? To talk over. Love this one. Really love it, guys. I recommend, if you're advanced, you can check this one. Alina, Vicky, astonished is surprised in a good way or a bad way. I generally use it in a positive way, but you can use it in a negative way. I was astonished at his behavior. But like generally it's positive. I would say like, oh, I was astonished, like wow. Normally I would use it in a positive way. I'd be interested to see actually what it would happen if we looked that up, but I would guess both more in positive way. 111, you sound like a Spanish native speaker. Really? Oh, that's so cool. I wonder if I spoke in Spanish, if you guys could. I learned most of my Spanish in. That would be quite funny. Durga man, you're from Nepal. Wow. I would like to go to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. My brother and my father did it recently, a few years ago. X, what English words would you use robbing a bank? I would probably say like, put your hands up. Please give me the money. Guerrera, thank you very much for insulting my Spanish pronunciation. Alina, okay, cool. Come on, give it a try. Anna Maria, I heard you speak a bit of Spanish, and you have a nice accent. Thank you, Anna Maria. Guerrera, you can take a leaf out of Anna Maria's book. Okay, Mr. Foster, I'm just saying lie to me. It's fine. Kilimanjaro in Africa, I knew as I was saying it, I was like, because I was going to climb that mountain. What the hell? Everest. I knew as I was saying Kilimanjaro, I was like, my brain is too tired for this right now. Thank you for catching that. Mount Everest. Okay. That's another one I would, if I had time, I would edit out of this video, but look. 111, haha, it's very easy for me to understand everything you say. Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Your Spanish pronunciation is okay. It's the accent. Sorry for being honest. Yeah, no, it's okay. I realize that with you, it's, what is it? You're very blunt. Despite the fact that you like your sword, you're very blunt. Okay? I'm kidding. Anna Maria, I must still be hungry that I eat words. Oh, it's very good. I like it, Anna Maria. That's so funny. That's really good. I hadn't heard that before. It's very funny. Okay, talk over. So the phrasal verb talk over, Jin, I'll get to you now. The phrasal verb talk over means to discuss something carefully before making a decision. So it's to discuss something carefully before making a decision. For example, let's talk it over before signing the contract. The partners spent the afternoon talking over the proposed merger. Notice that talk over often suggests weighing different options. Jin says, you are Spanish, right? How did you manage to get such a good level of English? A lot of practice, Jin. A lot of practice. Yeah. Practicing. Get a Spanish girlfriend or boyfriend, or an English girlfriend or boyfriend. You'll learn really fast. I have a feeling, Guerrera, that there's another sexual connotation there about eating hamon that I don't know what it is, but okay. Anna Maria, mistakes. What's this? We have, oh yeah, sorry. We have this phrase in Romanian when we make mistakes while writing. Yeah? Oh, it's really funny you said that, because in Andalusia, they eat the words when they're speaking. A lot. De bellota. Not at all? Okay. Guerrera, de Bellota. Yeah, de Bellota. Are you Jin? Are you from Andalusia? Also, are you from Huelva or something? Jamón de Bellota, de 5 estrellas. Ana Maria, the one with eating the words. Yes. Okay. In Andalusia, they have this also in Spanish, in the south of Spain. Okay. Next one. Talk through. Talk through. I love this. Very advanced. Talk through something. Really good. Another useful phrasal verb is talk through. It means to explain something step by step or help someone understand a process or problem. For example, the solicitor talked, that's a type of lawyer in Ireland. The solicitor talked the client through the terms of the agreement. Could you talk me through your calculations? The consultant talked the management team through the implementation strategy. This expression is extremely common in business English. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Lena, you realized? It's very funny because they say the same thing in Spain. Mr. Foster, the lawyer who doesn't go to the court. That's it. Yeah. He does go to court. He has to stay sitting down. He can't speak to the judge after, I think, the district court. They have to go to the court case, but then they have to go. Depends on the case. But then they need the barrister to go in between them and the judge. Yeah. It's the same as walk some into. Good job. 111. You can also say, I thought about writing it, to walk through. Yes. To talk through, to walk through. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Next one. Talk into or talk out of. Okay. Both level C1. Important for C1. For B2, not really, but for C1, yes. So these phrasal verbs describe persuasion. We spoke last week about persuasion. So, talk someone into something. This means to persuade or convince someone to do something. Have you any stories where you didn't want to do something when you were younger, but your friend talked you into it, and then in the end you both got in trouble? And you have to say, John talked me into it. So my colleague talked me into applying for the promotion. Yeah. I talked myself into signing up for my first marathon last year. She finally talked him into accepting the offer. Okay, this one. And then the opposite is to talk someone out of doing something. So you want to do something, and your friend convinces you not to do it. So talk you into doing it is you don't want to do it, and they convince you to do it. Talk you out of doing something is you want to do it, and they convince you not to do it. Okay? So talk someone out of something is to persuade someone not to do something. So his lawyer talked him out of making a public statement. Anna Maria, walk him through it is more like guiding. Yes, absolutely. You can also say to run someone through it if you review something quickly, and walk through something is to review something slowly. Next example, I tried to talk her out of resigning, but it didn't work, or it was impossible. These are much more conversational than persuade. Yeah, always phrasal verbs are, right? Hey, thank you, Durgam, thank you. And thank you from Thailand. And Tat, thank you, Tat. Pingu, I like your name. I'm in Ireland in September 5th and can't wait to be there with you. That's awesome, Pingu. Brilliant. What part of Ireland are you going to? To the south or Dublin, or where are you going? Which part? I'm from Cork. Okay. Next one is talk back. Dublin Centre. Nice. You're going to have a great time. I have a lot of students in Dublin at the moment. A lot of really nice students actually in Dublin. And some friends there too who were students. Okay, talk back. This is such a funny one. I was in big trouble for doing this when I was a kid. I will work for Pizza Hut. Nice, okay, free pizza. If we go to Dublin, everybody can get free pizza from Bingu. Adam, why are you teaching our ethnic replacements English? Adam, can you clarify your question? I'm not sure what you mean by ethnic replacements English. Adam, can you explain your question? I'm not sure. Grazi, you're living in Cork, yeah? Anna Maria, I would talk back to my mom quite often. Yeah. Tempus fractum, we again left sight about future for Europe. Yeah? What do you mean by that, Tempus? I'm not 100% sure. Can you clarify what you would like to say there? Now, yeah, when I was a kid, I would talk back. I would speak up, Guerrera. You would have been proud of me, okay? But my mom was always very angry. And I remember one time I did this. I rolled my eyes. That was the last time I ever rolled my eyes, okay? So, yeah. You have to be careful when you're talking back, especially when you're living under somebody else's roof. So talk back means to answer someone rudely or disrespectfully. Anna Maria, you can imagine? Yeah? Roll, Mister Foster. R-O-L-L. R-O-L-L. Roll one's eyes. Like this. I know. You. Okay? So, to roll your eyes. Right? Grazi, you're living in Passage West, yeah? When I was a teenager, I used to go to a disco in Passage West. It was a really cool disco. Anna Maria, yeah, exactly. All right, Mr. Foster. Yeah, I rolled my eyes. Oh my God. So talk back means answer. Yeah, normally, I think, honestly, guys, many times I think that teenagers, when they talk back, I think they usually have a point. And I honestly think that many times it's the parents who don't understand the kids, you know, and they interpret their reaction as disrespect. But look, you think so? I don't know about math. Well, actually, when I was a kid, when I was in primary school, I was picked from my class and sent for some type of math test. But after that, I don't know what happened. Examples. The child was punished for talking back to his teacher. Don't talk back to your parents. Yeah, but what happens if your parents are wrong? That's the issue. Hey, Mr. Foster, that's a good debate. I think you can add that to the list of debates. If kids should talk back to their parents or not. I think that's a good one. What do you guys think? Do you think kids should talk back to their parents or just never talk back to your parents? Notice that this expression almost always carries a negative meaning, Alina. Okay? So this one, in this case, talking back, generally people interpret this as negative. Okay? Hello, Eric. Talk back, Eric. I'll give you a simple example, okay? If you're living at home and your mom says, Eric, it's 10 o'clock, it's time to go to bed. And you say, I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to go to bed at 10 o'clock. My friends go to bed at 11. You're talking back to your mom. She spoke to you and she gave you instructions and you're talking back. So you're rejecting what she's saying and deciding that you want to do something else. This is talking back. Do you understand? Dash, I know you very well and I know in your house there is no talking back. I know. But I also know that you are a very good mom. So, yeah, it depends, doesn't it? Let me see. Eric, let me know, did you understand that? Guerrera, I always did and faced consequences of that conduct. Well, I don't know. We'd have to discuss what were the consequences, you know. Dash, they should have noted. Thanks, Mr. Foster. Madalena, even now, I talk back to my mom, and I'm an adult. Oh my goodness. Anna Maria, yeah, Dash is the parent. It's Livia, you do? Yeah? Yeah, okay. Eric, got it. But it always have a negative meaning? Yes, it does. I mean, I can't really say on TikTok how this would not be a negative meaning, but there probably is a way, but it's very small, you know? I mean, look, if you're flirting with someone or being a bit cheeky, then maybe talking back can be a little bit funny, but it depends, okay? It depends on your tone as well, if it can be funny. But generally, always negative, okay? In your exam, it's always going to come up in a negative context. Mr. Foster, I heard the lady who interviewed Elon Musk say, not told, no, say. I heard her say, not told. We studied that yesterday, remember? If you use told, you have to use the object. Let me push back to your question. Sounds similar to talk back. Push back. That's very American, that's very modern. Push back means let me, you know, you wouldn't say talk, no, because push back is like disagree with him, to give him like a counter argument. But in talk back is not constructive. It's always kind of a bit immature. And this, and Maria, you guessed it, yeah? Flirting class, please. Tell Mr. Foster to add it to the list. Mr. Foster, can you please add flirting class to the list of things we need to do? Anna Maria, I don't know if you have kids, but what would you do? What would I do? Depends on the day. Depends on the situation. With my students, for example, sometimes I appreciate when they talk back, because actually I accept that sometimes I'm wrong or I'm not seeing the full picture. And especially with teenagers, I think they often say quite insightful things. So sometimes when they talk back, I always keep control because that's necessary as an adult. But sometimes I think, hey, you know what? Actually, you have a good point. All right, Eric, cool. Hello, Farks. What's happening here? This is advanced English class. Livia, when we are kids, okay, but when we become adults, sometimes it's kind of necessary to talk back to our parents. Totally agree, Livia. Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. Mr. Foster, let me push back on that. I've never used that in my life, Mr. Foster, ever. So that's you just like a new phrasal verb, I guess, like from America. Look, they're inventing new phrasal verbs all the time. I've heard like to get pushback, but I've heard it as a noun, not as a verb. Let me challenge that idea. Let me respectfully disagree. Let me offer a different perspective. Yeah. Let me think. Livia, cool. Okay. Yulia, hello. He talks back, hence my attitude. Yeah, you can say that. Perfect. Okay, cool. So next one is a talking point. Yeah, somebody regularly says to me, oh, this is one of our pain points. Yeah. So talking point is just something that we need to talk about. Okay, so flirting can be a talking point for us. Guys, one time I have done flirting classes actually at university. Hello, Luna. And I was working in conjunction with another teacher. His name was Ash, really nice guy. And we brought our two classes together and we did like a demonstration. So in this demo anyway, I needed to ask him out. So I was like, hey, Ash, you know, what are you doing on Friday? I think I said, like, do you want to go to the cinema? And he was like, oh, I can't go this Friday. I need to stay at home because I need to water my cactus. Did you get it? And I was like, oh, okay. It was quite funny. Excuses, yeah, that was very funny. I laughed a lot. Okay, yeah. So, an advanced noun derived from the verb talking point. A talking point is a topic that generates a lot of discussion. So it's like a controversial topic. For example, the referee's decision quickly became the main talking point after the match. The referee's decision quickly became the main talking point after the match. One of the conference's biggest talking points was the rapid growth of generative AI. Common mistakes, right? They'll say, they talked the problem for 2 hours. No. You must say they talked about the problem for 2 hours, or they discussed the problem for 2 hours. Okay? Eric, that's a kind of weird excuse. It was supposed to be a joke, Eric, because obviously cactuses don't need to be watered. So we were doing like a demo in front of our students, you know. We were messing. Abraham, why in my mind all sounds great, but my mouth don't know it? That's a step. If you're listening, it's totally normal for your listening to be much better than your speaking at the start. It's totally normal. In my case with Spanish, I was very slow to start speaking. Very slow. I think other people were thinking like, what is happening with her? Why can't she speak yet? Because then I started understanding a lot, but I couldn't speak. And then suddenly I started speaking and there was no going back. Okay, so it depends on the person. Talking point, not topping point, means main point of discussion. Yes, Eric, yeah. That everybody wants to give an opinion about, you know. For example, Ceuta is a big one now. Anna, only through exercising, exactly. You need to speak. You need to just speak. It's like going to the gym. People are like, how can I improve my speaking? Like, well, if you go to the gym, you're not going to improve by looking at the weights. You need to actually get the weights and do again and again and again, and the next day again and again and again. And that's how you're going to grow some muscles, you know? My poor Spain. What have I said about Spain? I can't remember what I said. What did I say? Okay, incorrect. So you mentioned Ceuta. Oh, sorry. Okay, Ceuta. Yeah, I thought I'd said something offensive about Spain because our tongue is used to the native language. Yeah, it's an exercise. Speaking is an exercise. You know, anything that we want to get good at, we need to practice. I should have gone running today. I didn't. So I'm going to have to do double tomorrow. So incorrect. The candidates talked the relative importance of social media. No. The candidates talked about the relative importance of social media. Or the candidates discussed the relative importance of social media. Mr. Foster, can you add social media to that list? Please. That would be awesome. I think we can speak a lot about social media. I think it would be really cool. And online, guys, I would like to add this, Mr. Foster, for them. I would like to know what you guys think about dating apps. I would like to speak about that as well. Dating apps and like what people think and in different countries and if they work and all this stuff. I think that's a really good topic. That's a good talking point. I like it. Guerrera, even if you say something offensive, I prefer honesty. But I don't know. I'm not sure. Because I think a lot of people say things and they don't take care about what they're saying and they're being offensive and they're not correct. And actually, I do think they should not be so honest, because people say sometimes they use honesty as an excuse to be cruel or mean or ignorant, you know, and I do think people need to take care of what they say. I think too many people, unintelligent people, speak too much, honestly. Mr. Foster, to master speaking, we have to put our voice into action. Agreed, totally. Thank you. Luna, I understand, but I'm not speaking. Yeah, Luna, that happened to me also. I think it's normal. I'm totally sure it's normal. Yeah, well, don't take things too personally, Guerrera. You know, that's another thing. In English, we generalize a lot. We say, like, you are this, but I'm not actually speaking to you. I'm speaking to, like, people in general. But in Spain, it's like, me? No, not you. Like, in general. Eric, what time are you usually on TikTok Live? Eric, it depends on the day. But we have got a WhatsApp group if you want to be in the WhatsApp group for the notifications. Anna Maria, unfortunately, I don't have positive experience on the dating apps. No, Anna Maria, you don't? I would like to know more about these dating apps because some people have really good experiences and other people hate them. Guerrera, I know it's projection most of the time. Eric, it's a surprise every day. Good, the stream hour is always a surprise. Yeah, it's always a surprise. I hope in September it'll get a bit better. I hope I will get into some type of routine. Today I did my timetable, but it's always chaotic in September when when it comes to, because, yeah. Madalena, I met my husband on a dating app. Yes! Look, Madalena has this, experience, this beautiful, awesome experience. There are loads of people who find, the love of their life on dating apps. So I honestly, I actually think that they're fantastic. I think it depends how you use them, A friend of mine also met her partner and they've just had a baby. I know a lot of people who've met online. So I think it's really cool. It just, maybe a bit of luck, in everything else. That's so cool. Okay, so incorrect is the president talked that further sanctions were necessary. You think it's about luck, Anna Maria? Yeah. Luck and timing, karma, the president said that further sanctions were necessary. So said that. The president spoke about further sanctions. The president talked about further sanctions. So notice the distinction. Talk introduces the topic of a conversation, whereas say introduces the actual words or information. Speak focuses on the act of communication itself. At C1 level, a useful way to remember the difference is speak, communicate formally, or use a language. Talk, have a conversation, and discuss, analyze a topic in detail. Okay? Anna Maria, I found some people with boyfriends and girlfriends on there. Yeah, but also, Anna Maria, you find them in real life too. And people who do worse things. I heard a case recently. There was a guy in a relationship and every week he went to a massage parlor. I won't mention the nationality, and had a fantastic time there, And he was a perfectly normal, legitimate person, So people can be pretty crazy, eh? Hello, Kate. Oh, that's your Kate. You're very sweet. Kate, it's a bit, depends on the day, eh? Depends on the day. Yeah. Depends on the day. Anna Maria, yeah, but they are more likely to be on those apps because they can hide. You think so? I don't know if it's that or that in real life we just wouldn't speak to those people, Get it out. Anna Maria, but we can talk about it another time. Okay. Luna, you teaching English? When do you teach? Almost every day. Normally we miss 1 or 2 days per week, but almost every day we are here. But the time is a surprise. Okay, so discuss. The verb discuss means to examine a topic in detail by exchanging ideas, opinions, or arguments. Unlike talk, which may simply describe casual conversation, discuss usually implies a more structured, analytical, or purposeful conversation. Vicky knows too much. About what? What do I know too much about? Anna Maria, they can explore more easily. Yeah. Hello, V. How's it going? Everything okay? Alright, so example, the committee discussed several possible solutions before reaching a unanimous decision. The researchers spent months discussing the ethical implications of the study. Guerrera was mentioning yesterday ethical makeup, weren't you? The directors are meeting this afternoon to discuss the proposed acquisition. During the seminar, students discussed whether governments should regulate artificial intelligence. Hyro! Hey! My day has been really intense, Hyro. Really intense. You can't imagine. But I'm here. It was good. It was a good day. Yeah, it was a really good day. But very intense. How about you, Hyro? How was your day? Is it good? I like your use of so far. Cruelty-free. That was it. Excuse me. Cruelty-free makeup. Yeah. If you know any, you can let us know about the cruelty-free makeup. I buy a lot of stuff makeup in Mercadona, eh? During the seminar, Alina wants to go to Mercadona when she comes here. During the seminar, students discussed whether governments should regulate artificial intelligence. Notice that discuss suggests people are analysing a topic rather than merely chatting about it. Hey Lucia, what's up? Okay, most common mistakes. One of the most frequent mistakes made by advanced learners is adding about after discuss. Yes, happens a lot. Hello Maria. Maria, this is C1, give or take. So incorrect. We discussed about the problem. No. Okay, we can't say this. Oh wait, can I do this one? We can't say, yes I can. Okay, so we discussed about the problem. No. They discussed about climate change. No. The panel discussed about the latest findings. Okay, you're guilty of that, Anna Maria? Yeah, a lot of people are. So discuss is not followed by any preposition. Exactly, Eric. No. Okay, no, it's not. This is a big mistake that people make. People will say like discuss about. Can't say that. Okay, talk about yes, speak about yes, discuss about no. So correct, we discussed the problem directly. They discussed climate change directly. The panel discussed the latest findings directly. This is because discuss already means talk about. So talk about is like the phrasal verb, the informal way of saying discuss. This room is like an igloo, so I'll turn off the air conditioning. This is because, so think of it like this. Talk about the issue, discuss the issue. The word about is already built into the meaning of discuss. So discuss versus talk about. These verbs are similar but not identical. We talked about the election over dinner. We discussed the election during the strategy meeting. What the conversation was about. The second suggests that people examined different viewpoints, evaluated evidence, or attempted to reach a conclusion. Okay? Let me see here, guys. Because of my native language. Yeah, Anna Maria, I know. Yeah, depends on your. It's funny. I can tell the accent obviously, but the mistakes that people make. I have an excellent student from Poland. She did her C1 in March, and she decided to continue with conversation classes just because she likes them, and she uses English at work too. She's wonderful, wonderful person. And like one of the only mistakes that she makes is skipping articles. And that's just because in Polish they don't have as many as in English. That's the only reason. So yeah, these things happen because of our native languages, you know. Like in English, we don't have genders, like masculine, feminine, this. So my use of masculine and feminine in Spanish is just wild, you know. You skip them, V? Yeah, I mean, it's a similar, no? Your first language is Russian, V, right? Because I think Russian and Polish, it would be pretty similar, I think, grammatically. So yeah, it would be the same issue, no? You noticed that? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, I deserve that. Right, so likewise, the students talked about the novel after class. The students discussed the novel in their literature seminar. Again, discuss sounds more academic and purposeful. So, discuss versus debate. Love debate. I actually did debating in school and I won the tournament in our round. That's actually a true story. I did. I forget that, but I actually did win. It was in my English class, eh? You can help me. Oh my God. Okay, discuss versus debate. These verbs are often confused. A discussion involves exchanging ideas. A debate involves defending opposing positions. Okay, so compare. The scientists, guys, you can practice this pronunciation with me if you want. So singular, it's going to be scientist, and plural, scientists. Okay, scientists. It's a hard one. The scientists discussed possible explanations for the findings. The politicians debated the government's economic policy. During a discussion, participants may agree. During a debate, disagreement is expected. Very important to know the routine. You're welcome, Ana Maria. I never speak to you in Spanish. Like, guys, you have to remember, right? Like, was it 2 days ago I listened to a conference. I signed up to, my hair is getting too long. I signed up to a conference and I was listening to this guy speaking. And it was like 90 minutes, you know? And the person giving the conference was like, oh my God, guys, I can't believe I've been teaching now for 90 minutes. Like, it's a lot. And I'm going to be exhausted tomorrow. I can't believe I've been teaching for 90 minutes today. Wow. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I teach for 8 to 10 hours per day, you know? 90 minutes. And I wanted to say, what about, let me see, Mr. Foster, what was the topic of debates you've won? The last one was about the economic situation in Ireland, because we were speaking about the economic tiger. The Celtic tiger. I think it was the future of the economy in Ireland, if I remember correctly. Guerrera, come back to meet you. Tell you I'm sorry you don't know. This is a song, How Lovely You Are. The Scientist by Coldplay, yeah. I saw a Coldplay tribute band in Cardiff a few years ago. It was unreal. Eric, sorry, where are you from? I'm Irish, Eric. I'm Irish. Guerrera is going to have a headache tomorrow, Eric, thanks to you. I'm from Ireland. Oh, you used the F word. Are you going to block me, Mr. Foster? No. Hello from Thailand. Mr. Foster, you seem to be, like, I feel like, Mr. Foster, you could be a member of a royal family somewhere there in the Ukraine. You know? Or one of these, what are they called? What is it? Monarchy. Or one of those people, no? Which part of Thailand are you from? Love Thailand. I want to go back. V, I also took part in debates. Yeah, as a student. Yeah, I adored it. Maybe because I adore to argue. It could be. Tigro, are you currently living in Ireland? Greetings from Peru. I'm not currently living in Ireland. No, Tigro. I'm not. Okay. Discuss at length. So a useful expression is to discuss something at length. Guys, if you're working in English, Mr. Foster I've offended Mr. Foster now because I've used the F word. It's very unladylike. Okay, Guerrera, to this point, I would feel unsettled without hearing Irish or Ireland. I live in Patong, Phuket. Yeah? Okay, I was there. Yeah, I was there. You know where it is? I do. I was there. Patong. I think I was there. Where was I? Yeah, Patong Beach. We were there, I think. Juliana, I went to Ireland 2024. So yeah? Did you like it? Were you in Dublin or in Cork? Madalena, should you say I adore to argue or I adore arguing? They're both okay. I adore to argue. No, I adore arguing. I think it's with ing. My God. I adore to play. Or both. I think you can use both, eh? Oh my God. Now I'm freaking out about this. You can use both. I adore to play chess. You can use both. And I think there's no difference in meaning, eh? I'm totally sure. But now, Madeleine, you ask very good questions, honestly. You ask really, really good questions. But I can't let that one go now. But I'm totally sure that you can use both. And it should be in my book, but I can't find it right now. I'm totally sure you can use both. What, this should be here somewhere. Adore. Yeah, this is only the B2 book, you see. I'm totally sure you can use both. Can you look it up and check? But I'm totally sure you can use both. Good night. Adore, like love and like. Yeah, I think I would say both too. I'm sure it's both. And I'm sure there's no difference. Eric, is your accent different from American? I mean, I'm Irish, so I don't have an American accent. Juliana, you were in Dublin. That's awesome. Madeline, I'm totally sure you can use both. Like, I adore to argue. But I often use, like, I adore arguing. I often use I adore when it's to do something. I adore playing chess. I would probably use it. It comes to me to say ing. I adore practicing yoga. I adore to practice yoga. I would say I adore practicing yoga. I adore cooking. I adore to cook. I adore to argue. I need to check that. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure that there's no difference in meaning. Eh? Do you know? V. ChatGPT says ing is more natural. Thank you, V. ChatGPT says ing is more natural. That's what I was thinking. But is to wrong? I don't think to is wrong, eh? It doesn't sound too bad to me. Tony, can this phrase be used in my formal essay? Yes, it would be really good, Tony. I think ing is better, Lucy. You think so too? Yeah, it sounds. But I don't think to is wrong, eh? Like, love, and adore go with ing. Lucia, but you can say I like to play. And I love to play also. You can say it. I sent you a screenshot. You sent me. Where's my phone? Okay, this is from Guerrera. Adore arguing is correct. Adore is from a group of verbs that are followed by ing. But this is not correct. This is not comprehensive because it also mentions here love. And you can use to with ing. Can you follow up with this and ask, but can't you say, because this is not comprehensive at all. It's not. It doesn't change the meaning, but it's seldom used by natives. But it does exist, is what Madeleina's question is, though. It's not wrong, is what I want to say, no? Gemini says, I adore plus gerund is standard grammatical form, but using to argue is used in casual speak. Thank you, Madeleina. I think so. I think the ing is the more common one, but I don't think to is wrong, eh? I think people do use it. I adore to sing. Like, I don't think it's wrong. It would be more normal to say I adore singing. Guerrero, you could just ask, like, are you sure? I would say directly, I think you're wrong. I'm sure you can say to. For example, after love, you can definitely say to plus infinitive. That makes sense. And yeah. Hello, Naz. What should you use? And I would say ing probably, but at the same time that you have. If you had me, I would be fine with that. If you had another examiner, they may not be fine. How are we doing for time? Do you want me to check it? You do. Hang on. Because we better not leave things. Okay. 1 second. All right. Let's clarify this once and for all. You can use either I adore traveling or I adore to travel. However, adore plus ing is more natural and more common. The same is true for love, like, hate, and prefer. They generally take either form. But with adore, ing is more common. But grammatically, it is possible to say I adore to travel. Let me see. And yeah, no. In an exam, it wouldn't normally be marked as incorrect because the construction is grammatical. Okay? Yeah. It's just less usual. Okay, they recommend using ing, but it's not incorrect to use to infinitive. So there we go. That's clarified now. Awesome. Roger that, Lucia. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Tony, do you teach IELTS? I do, Tony. Yeah. Yeah, I do sometimes. From students for IELTS is a lot of people going to Dublin to study or in Saudi Arabia. They like IELTS exam, and in America sometimes as well. So what does this mean? To discuss something at length. The meaning is to discuss something in great detail. For example, the issue was discussed at length during yesterday's board meeting. So they discussed it for a long time. The witnesses were questioned extensively and the evidence was discussed at length. All right, there's that one. And then under discussion. Under discussion, this is another useful expression. What does it mean? Currently being considered or discussed. For example, several proposals are currently under excuse me. Sorry. Too much air conditioning, I think. And I have a bit of a sore throat today and yesterday. Thank you, Lucia. Fastidiously discussed. Thank you, Guerrera. Thank you, V. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I have a funny throat yesterday. Because that feels like, I don't know why. Yeah, maybe I should take it easy tomorrow. Maybe it's better that I didn't go running today. Okay, so several proposals are currently under discussion. Changes to the examination format remain under discussion. So it means like, there are people here and this is like maybe the table and they're discussing, it's under, I don't know, under discussion. So they're speaking about this topic, which is underneath, under discussion. Ongoing discussions, under discussion. This expression is particularly common in formal reports and journalism. Okay, so discussion. The noun discussion follows the same pattern. For example, we had a discussion about the proposal. There was considerable discussion about the new regulations. Now notice the difference. We discussed, the verb is we discussed the proposal versus the noun we had a discussion about the proposal. So in this case, we do have a preposition in here. If you use discuss as a noun, you need to use a preposition. Okay, so that's like a little exception there. Okay, generally with the verb, we don't use the preposition, but if you use the noun, yes. Okay. This is where many learners become confused. So if it's a verb, then we don't use about, but if it's a noun, it's perfectly natural to use about. Okay, awesome, Anna Maria. Little exceptions, there's freaking exceptions everywhere, especially with English, It's just such an old language and it was used so informally that it is quite random at times. Now we can compare, we discussed the proposal or we had a discussion about the proposal. Both are correct. Okay, so group discussion. Cambridge speaking exams often include a group discussion. For example, the candidates are expected to discuss the options before reaching a decision. Your discussion should include reasons for your choices. So notice that Cambridge almost always uses discuss because the task requires candidates to analyse ideas together, not simply exchange casual opinions. I feel like I've got a bit of a frog in my throat, do I? I think I'm getting a bit hoarse. Okay, hey, who was asking about collocations? We've got some collocations for you here. NDH, no? I don't know if he's still here. Hello, Mahia Divina. What a beautiful name. Parla. Thank you for this. From Italy. You're in Italy. Which part of Italy are you in? I lived in Italy for a while. I worked in a Cambridge exam centre in Sicily. Italy is a fantastic country. Really beautiful. I have a lot of students there. Hello, Paolo, Chibi. I thought I was going to read Paulo Coelho for a second. So, common collocations: discuss a proposal, have a zip of water. A zip or a sip? Yeah, you should. You from? XYZS. That's an original name. I'm Irish. I'm from Ireland. Sip. You're very smart, Lucy. I should. Funny, when I'm teaching, I guess I'm so used to teaching that I don't need water so much. 5141. Fernando, you're living in Galway. Love Galway. I'm good, thanks, Paolo. Really good. How are you? Okay, so discuss a proposal, discuss an issue, discuss a matter, discuss the findings, discuss the implications, discuss the possibility. That's a really good one. Discuss the possibility. Discuss the consequences. Discuss the details. That's a really good one too. Discuss the details. We need to sit down and discuss the details. Cool, Fernando. I'm from Cork. And Paolo, you're okay? Yeah? Awesome. I would like to prepare for my Cambridge exam. Could you help me? Yeah, of course, Fernando. You can send me a DM. Hey, John. How's it going? So these collocations appear frequently in academic writing, journalism, and business English. Common mistakes. We discussed about the budget. Correct is we discussed the budget or we talked about the budget. I'm from Colombia. Yeah, you're from Colombia. What a beautiful country. Can I discuss the nuances? Yes, you can. You can. You're from Angola, Paulo. Awesome. That's really cool. Okay. So we don't want to say the committee discussed on the proposal. No, the committee discussed the proposal. We don't want to say we discussed regarding the new regulations. No, say we discussed the new regulations or we talked about the new regulations. Notice how discuss already contains the idea of about. Adding another preposition is unnecessary and ungrammatical. At C1 level, a useful distinction is talk about, exchange means exchange ideas, often informally. Discuss, examine a subject systematically or in detail. And debate is argue opposing viewpoints with the aim of persuading others. Madalena, but we had a discussion about the project is correct, right? You could say we had a discussion about yes, because there you're using discussion as a noun. Jay, can you speak Gaelic? We usually say Irish, Jay. You would say, can you speak Irish? Yeah, cúpla focal, Jay. Cúpla focal. So, all right, awesome. How are you doing, guys? Are you a bit tired, or will we continue, or will we do the speaking? What do you guys think? It's 9:45 now. Maybe you guys would like to do the speaking. I don't want you to be too tired. Hello, Whippy! Alina, we are good. You're fit, you like to do. Not tired, Whippy? No? Okay. Let me see. Jay, I live in Cork for 2 years ago. Yeah? I have lived in Cork since 2 years ago. Not tired, Maria, no? Mr. Foster, there you are. You haven't said anything since I dropped the F-bomb. I thought I had shocked you. I'm never tired of English. You'd better ask others. Let the frog rest a bit. Mr. Foster, can you add to the debate the use of bad language? Okay. But I have a feeling that you were particularly offended because it's a girl using bad language. Let the frog rest a bit. It's a good one, Lucia. Lucia, you're equally as smart as and as fast as Guerrera. Okay, so comment. The verb comment means to express an opinion, observation, or reaction about a particular subject. Unlike discuss, it does not usually imply a detailed conversation. A comment may consist of just one sentence or even a few words. Okay? She learned from the... I'll add that topic to the list, but please don't wait me on that class. Okay. Yes, I'm painting a picture now of yeah, okay. I had an idea already, but okay. So, learn from the best. The most common patterns are comment on plus noun, comment that plus clause. For example, the central bank declined to comment on speculation surrounding future interest rate changes. Commented on the government's latest fiscal matters. Lovas, hi, not bad. You're from Madagascar, yeah? A few people have been with us from Madagascar, eh? It's awesome. I bet you have really good snorkeling. I love snorkeling. Really? Okay. The editor commented that the article required further evidence before publication. The witness refused to comment on the ongoing investigation. Notice that comment almost always introduces an opinion, not simply information. Compare. The minister said that taxes would increase. The minister commented on the proposed tax increases. The first reports the information, the second indicates that the minister expressed an opinion or reaction. Yasser Anwar. Hello Anwar, you're calling. Anwar, we're not doing the speaking yet. But guys, I've decided anybody who wants to do the speaking, you have to participate in the chat, okay? First, I think it's a better idea. I'm not going to answer a call from somebody who never participates in the chat, okay? Because, well, I don't know who it is, or we don't know who it is. So let's try to, if you want to do the speaking, just participate a bit in the chat so we can see like who you are and whatever. Hello, Opar. Yeah, Alina, I think it's a splendid idea. Yeah, I think it's a better idea. No, keep it to the group. Yeah, so guys, anybody who wants to participate in the speaking, everybody's welcome to try to practice your speaking. But you need to participate in the chat a bit just so I can see, like, yeah, who you are. And it's not like a Guerrera's calling. Do you want to speak now? Oh my God. I better answer because who knows if she'll ever call back. Oh my God. This is a surprise.
Oh, fine.
Hello. Hello?
Hello.
How's it going?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Ole! Yeah! You're here finally. Mr. Foster is going to be ecstatic. Mr. Foster, are you there? Are you hearing who's on the line? Okay. So, will I go down to the speaking topic? In that case, we'll jump down to the speaking. So, how's it going? Did you have a nice day today?
You
Hello?
can join me, you know?
What?
I meant Mr. Foster. He can join me.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Mr. Foster, do you want to join in?
Let's have a debate.
Yeah, okay. Are you interested in going back to the vegetarian vegan one, or are you ready for the next one? We are astonished. Yeah, we're on the edge of our seats, guys. Alina is also astonished. Yeah, I'm totally astonished. Mr. Foster is preparing something. He just said, wait a sec. I need to change laptop to phone. Oh, to iPhone, okay. So what would you like to do? You're the guest of honor now, so what debate would you like to have? I feel like you'd like to do the vegetarian one.
I don't really mind. Yeah, shut your question.
Yeah? Okay, I don't have questions about the vegetarian and vegan one, but here he goes. He's calling now. Hang on a second. Well, this is going to be funny. 1 sec. Let me answer this thing. Okay.
Lucia, what about you?
Yeah, Lucia, do you want to join in as well?
Hello.
Hello! Yay!
Don't be shy. I'll give it a try.
Guys, it's come to my mind the phrase, what is love about? What is love about? Love, it is when she's waiting for him on the live stream.
That's quite funny. Okay, I want you to see.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Lucia is too shy. That's okay, Lucia. It's fine. Guys, I remember your points that you made yesterday about vegetarianism. Okay, so one of them, Mr. Foster, you said that I thought it was a really relevant point. you said that in the past we needed more energy, like for protecting ourselves, manual labor, finding food, so we needed to eat meat. But you said maybe it's not
Yeah.
the case today, no?
Yeah, we could continue because the Guerrera is a real expert in that. I can just I can just start with the story that I know that it is true.
Okay.
And just to give a general idea of my perspective, I can tell that I think everything is good. Everything can be great in this world if it goes along with a common sense. And I know one story when the guys, true proponents of their cat vegetarian, you know, and they stopped to give their cat this meat.
Okay.
And at the final count, the first lost teeth and fangs, and that cat has just died. So the bottom line here is that everything is great, and we are so happy living in such a beautiful world. Actually, there are a lot of drawbacks in this world, but still, this is the best place. This is the best point in the history when we live now, because world always have been a harsh place to live in. We have such great professions when we don't have to work physically. You know, we don't need a lot of that calories, and consequently, we can afford not to consume meat.
At least in
That's
some places,
absolutely
I think maybe, for example, in Afghanistan, some places maybe they are still not in such luxurious situations as we are. But Guerrera, what do you think?
I think.
Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah.
I think from different perspective, from any perspective, from looking from any angle, world is better place to live.
Yeah.
Than Middle Age, for example.
Yeah.
And speaking of Afghanistan, those people still have a chance to flee from Afghanistan to the so-called free world. Maybe it doesn't seem so free as we would like it to be, but still it's kind of free world, and they have a chance to flee from Afghanistan, to scamper off there. Yeah, and to be concise, I just summing up that it's a great chance that modern world give us to be vegetarians, because back in days you just couldn't afford to be vegetarians, because you need to chase the mammoth, or to chase the tiger, to chase any prey to bring it to your cave so your descendants could eat something. But nowadays we can afford this vegetarian thing. It's beautiful, and it's somehow it can even prolong our lifespan, and it is great to live a long lifespan. The main point is that its lifespan should be a meaningful.
Yeah, that's really
my
really good point.
idea, Vicky.
Yeah, and what do you think, Guerrera?
Well, I think it depends of your life circumstances. Nobody can afford to be vegetarian or vegan, so I fully understand. I don't judge people for what they eat. I have been eating meat and fish almost my whole life, so I know it's a process going from this to be vegetarian. I don't know.
What was your motivation for becoming vegetarian? Was it like because of the animals, or for health, or for the environment, or what was your main reason?
The animals and nature.
Yeah.
For me, it's a matter. I don't have any problem, any intolerance, anything, and I still can do it.
And when did you decide to be vegetarian?
I actually wanted to start when I was 19 years old, but I did it when I felt prepared for that. It was when I was 26 years old.
Mr.
When I
Foster
was
said,
economically independent, I got enough information. I tried several dishes because the Spanish gastronomy is very focused on having always some piece of meat or fish. So it's hard mentally. Doing that effort is not simple.
socially, it's very complicated if you want to change your diet, if you want to eat less, if you want to eat healthier, if you want to make any change, then it's very difficult to fit into your society, I think. Because eating kind of brings everybody together, you know?
Yeah, and these days is not as necessary as before because apart from people they didn't have the knowledge, we have more options, more alternatives. So from my point of view, it's good to eat animals. In fact, I see it quite hypocrite or to face it,
Hypocritical.
saying that you love animals while you are eating them.
V is saying here in the chat, she says, domestic animals are grown for people to eat them. Otherwise, they would not have existed, right? So I know maybe for you it's difficult. What do you guys think about that? About V's comment?
Well, that's what my mother used to say.
Yeah?
Quite selfish point of view. Animals can exist without us. They don't need us. But we...
Oh, I can...
Yeah.
Sorry. No, it's a very abusive industry, how we treat animals in all senses, for clothes, for entertainment. It's not only about food. It's something much deeper.
All right, I can continue.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, first of all, thanks for sharing your ideas. Guerrera, is always interesting to listen to you. And my perspective is that we should always go with our nature and never against. Because the thing, when we go against the nature, never ends up well or good for us. But at the same time, we need to think of moral aspect of producing the animals, as Guerrera mentioned. For example, the production of foie gras in France
God.
had been argued, tried to be forbidden by Greenpeace. And they have manifestation, and I think that makes sense. Because I had been at this farm, at one farm, at excursion in France, when they produce this foie gras. It's really place heavy energetics, I would say. But at the same time, I want to say that we people are part of animal world. We actually, literally are advancing version of chimpanzee in a way. And our digestion system works, there are carnivores in this world who eat the prey, who chase the prey. Tigers, the same cats, they catch mouses and eat them. So they have digestion system suited and created, designed for carnivore food. And there are different digestion system as a cow have. A cow have a lot of really long digestion system designed for consuming the grass. But we humans, we have mixed digestion system. So we are able to, Vicky, help me how to say.
To digest? To break?
No. Not absorb.
Could be absorbed.
All right,
Try to explain what you want to say.
Засвоювати. Is there anyone from Ukraine here? How to say засвоювати? Засвоювати їжу. All right, consume food, yeah. So our digestive system works works in both ways, and as a carnivore and as the vegetarians. So I think the best way for us go with our nature and eat a bit of vegetarian foods. And so main thing, this food should be diverse, and it's always better to consume local food. For our digestive system. Okay, I feel like a poor choice of this specific word. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's my standpoint.
We should be like
That's my
omnivores. That's something that's debated a lot because some people think that this tooth, I think it is this one, it's like a canine, no? And some people do say that that comes from tearing meat. Other people, I have heard that when we started cooking meat, that was when our brains started getting bigger. I don't know if you heard that. But I want to ask Guerrera. Guerrera, yesterday, Mr. Foster mentioned about like physical strength. So, do you think it's true that if you don't eat meat, your body is a bit weaker than a person who does eat meat?
Yes,
you know, some elite sportmen are vegan, like Djokovic. Would you say he's weak?
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing now, but it's a good point. Do you think it's difficult, like, to get everything that you need from a vegetarian diet?
As I said before, it depends on everyone's circumstances, but in my case, I think it's not. Spain is not the vegetarian-friendly country. If you compare it to Germany or others,
America,
because I have to prepare several things on my own. You know, they need to be homemade. I don't go to the supermarket and, oh, it's there. No, I can't say that. But a comment that I usually listen to is that there are deficiencies, I think is the word.
Correct.
Vegetarian or vegan, and I would love to say that that's not true as long as your diet is complete.
So what?
The only thing that you need is to take B12 vitamin as a supplement, and that's not natural either. It does inject it in meat. That's why people carnivore don't need it as a supplement.
I think
that there is any kind of deficiency.
B12 is, you don't need it if you're vegetarian because there's B12 in eggs, meat, cheese. You only need B12 if you're vegan, if you don't eat dairy products.
I still take it. I think you need it. Anyway, you can take it on your own. I'm not a doctor, I'm a nutritionist. I take the blood analysis and all of them are great.
Yeah. What changes did you notice since you made the change to a vegetarian diet?
In which sense?
I suppose like mental clarity, but like physical changes in your digestion, sleeping, anything?
I felt a little lighter.
Okay.
Like I don't feel like my digestion is heavy.
Yeah.
I feel my breath is a little better. I compare that to smokers. Okay. They don't realize that until they quit. So similar.
Wow, that's amazing.
With this topic, I develop a better relationship with food, like I'm more aware or conscious.
Yeah.
Since that, I have quit other things like sugar, or at least lower the intake. Flowers. It's hard, you know, but I feel it in my health. I feel I'm hotter than ever, you know.
That's really funny because yesterday Mr. Foster noticed that I was like scratching my eye a lot. And when I have flour...
vegan protein is not a problem as long as you take what you need.
Okay, as long as you get...
you can find it in legumes.
Legumes? Yeah, legumes, exactly.
Indifferent. Also, I don't know where more. What else?
V is in the chat here. V is also mentioning protein. Protein is a big thing that people speak about. And Anna Maria is mentioning about sugar.
Yeah, that's a typical comment I'm used to.
You got, yeah.
You know, I'm the black sheep.
I don't know. Maybe in Spain, maybe in Andalusia, it's less common. Like, I don't eat gluten, you know, and people, depending on the country, people do tend to freak out. But I mean, in America, I think that's one great thing about America is they like, if you're vegan, vegetarian, lactose-free, gluten-free, they have so many options. What about in the Ukraine, Mr. Foster, where you live in, because you're in the north of Ukraine, right?
In the eastern part.
Eastern part.
Northeast.
Northeast.
The city calls Kharkiv. Yeah.
Kharkiv. So are people open to like different ways of eating?
Well, ladies, I've been listening to you, and I want to say that your perspective, and Guerrera's perspective, really meaningful and reasonable. But I'm gonna answer your question, Vicky. But before that, let me tell this.
Go for it.
I think I always try to follow the practical side of life, and really always interested in empirical experience. And the first thing that comes to my mind that back in the days, one of my favorite philosophers, Diogenes, who lived in Athens, he had believed before common era, and he had lived up to 89 years. Could you imagine that? Without any diets, without any stomatologists, therapists, whoever, without the plethora of this knowledge that we possess, that humanity possesses now. And also, I've been traveling across Ukraine, across the region where my ancestors were from.
Sorry, Mr. Foster, go back again. He was living in this. What was it that he did until he was 89?
89. And that's official because Greek have knowledge. They wrote down all facts about him.
But was he vegetarian? And he was vegetarian.
And not only him. I think there were a lot of people who had really lifespan. And I think it's a myth that people that time lived up to 41 years. Yeah, maybe some of them did. Some of them lived to 40 years. Those who were warriors and they just died in battles, maybe. But Diogenes lived to 89 without any diet.
That's unbelievable. And you think that could be because he was vegetarian?
No, he wasn't. I think he wasn't. What I'm trying to say that he didn't stick to any type of diet. Yeah.
He was
and
like an
still had a lifespan.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And another thing I want to add that
you were traveling.
I've been traveling across Ukraine, and sometimes I attended graveyards and looked at dates. What was the lifespan of people 100 years ago? And I noticed that an average who lived 100 years ago, average lifespan wasn't 40 and wasn't 50. The average in Ukraine was, in that basis, when my ancestors were living, was 82 to 90. It was average lifespan, And people had been living in really hard times. And they went through the famine, through the wars, and all this, and a lot of turmoil. So yeah, the children death rate was really high, but those who survived the childhood could live the really long lifespan, and it's longer than its average lifespan nowadays in Ukraine. Because nowadays average lifespan in Ukraine is around 64, 65 for men. It's really short.
But that's like really that was literally like survival of the fittest,
Yeah.
And it's what Lucy is saying here as well, that there was better food. You needed to work hard for your food, and it wasn't processed.
Absolutely. And getting back to vegetarian in modern world, I know that I'm really into tourism. Yeah, I really love this part of activity, part of life. And all right, let's put it in this word. I've been into tourism before the wars have started, because nowadays I have no possibility to travel. But anyway, it's not the story. The story is that I made a research about the guys. I keep up with any news with Everest, because the guy from Nepal today told hello, said hello to you, and you mentioned that it's your dream or something to get on Everest, Jamalungma. Yeah, and there was a couple of vegetarians. I know that for sure. It's the fact that shifted their diet to vegetarian and wanted to prove that they, being vegetarians, can climb the Jamalungma, to the summit, to the pinnacle, and they failed. Both of them had died. So getting back to the first my phrase from which I started this debate, everything is great, and the vegetarianism, great thing as well. But if it goes along with common sense, that's what I stand for.
Okay. So, but Guerrera also mentioned like Djokovic. He's vegan, Guerrera, you said, right?
He is, yeah.
He's vegan. So you're saying, okay, so maybe it is possible.
In fact, I'm not completely sure, but he didn't get the best results at some period, and that was when he changed his diet and started to go vegan, and then his results went better and better until what we know nowadays.
Yeah. I have a question now about this, right? Do you think that so we're all human, obviously, most of us anyway, some of us here maybe not, but most of us are human, okay? So do you think that the same diet can be good for all humans? Or maybe there are some humans who really need meat and some other humans who do much better on a vegetarian diet because of our genetics or something? Do you think that's possible?
You know, there was a time where human beings eat each other and we stopped. So I think it will happen the same with this. Yeah.
Well, to the best of my knowledge,
I think it's a matter of time.
Well, as far as I'm aware, the dietologists and nutritionists recommend people do not change the main thing to maintain the good health, the good body, healthy and good body chemistry, is to maintain this stable diet. So it wouldn't be shifted, you know, like this week I eat this range of products, another week another range of products. So the stability is a pledge. Can I say pledge or not? Maybe not correct word. All right, is bail, not bail. All right. Anyway, so stability is a key point. Is a key point for maintaining a good body health. Stability in everything, in diet, in regime, and so far and so on.
When you say stability, do you mean like eating the same diet every week?
The same product, yeah.
Yeah?
Do not change the product drastically. Do not change your diet drastically. And those who have eaten the stable food, and it's better to be a local product, so and seasonal, obviously, products. So the local products best for our health. That's what nutritionists tell us.
Nutritionists.
It's to the best of my knowledge.
Nutritionists.
Thank you, Vicky.
Yeah, nutritionists.
Thank you. God bless you.
You're okay.
I would like to point out these words. She mentioned that vegetarianism and veganism was something trending years ago, and that's why many people quit, because it was just something at that time that was cool to say, I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian, I'm progressive.
Yeah, progressive.
And that's what happens when you do something because you want to fit, that when things are tough, situations are not easy, it's easy to say, I'm done. I go back to this and they make some excuse, I need it for my health, I had this deficiency. That's why I wanted to remark that it's not about that you lack something if you have this diet. It's about that your diet is not good. You didn't have the variety.
Exactly.
Variety.
Yeah, and eating locally, but eating locally is hard. Like V is saying, there are, like in Andalusia, you and me, we have oranges, okay, really good quality oranges. But maybe in Russia, Ukraine, they don't have access to oranges. So maybe in the south of Ukraine, sometimes. No, what about that, Mr. Foster? In Ukraine, do you have oranges locally?
No, we don't.
No. So like it depends as well where you live.
May I ask you? Please don't put. Vicky, I beg you, please don't put the Russia and Ukraine in one sentence. I beg you.
Sorry.
It's such a big trigger for Ukraine.
Yeah, it's like if you say...
It's the same as Ireland put with Great Britain at this
I
time.
know.
Revenge and call her British.
Yeah, sorry about that. British overall, oh my God, don't call me
don't
British.
be sorry.
Don't call me
I
British.
don't know.
But yeah, and I'm thinking...
We don't plant oranges, definitely, but we have a lot of other fruits, apples, pears, peaches, cherries, sweet cherries, plums, what else? Plethora, a wide range of berries. Ukrainian land is really grateful land for the plants, for any type of plants, but still we don't have this climate, and thanks God we don't have this climate for citruses, because on condition they would have that type of climate, we consequently had the snakes, the lizards, the the venom spiders and all this stuff, which I would prefer to see.
So I have a serious question now, guys, right? Guerrera, imagine if you were living in, like with the Eskimos, you know, in the Arctic, no? The Arctic, right? Yeah.
Yeah, con los esquimales.
Yeah. So those guys, they don't have a lot of plants, and they definitely don't have any fruit. And I know they have vitamin and mineral deficiencies, but I'm going to say in inverted commas, they have to eat meat to survive. So what do you think they should do? Do you think that as humans, we have no business living in a place like that if we can't survive on plants? Like we should relocate? Or do you think it's okay in those areas to eat wild animals to survive?
As long as you need to, it's okay to do it, to survive. Because it's necessary. But it's not necessary, I find it cruel to do it.
Yeah. Dash also mentioned, she said it's the way that we kill the animals is inhumane. I remember studying this at university. There are people who designed cruelty-free ways of killing animals. Do you think that's a factor or just absolutely not?
That's not enough.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I
That's
kind of
just an excuse to feel a little better, but still you're killing.
Yeah, Lucia is saying the same thing.
So, what are you saying?
V, what are you saying? The experience of
Exactly, Lucia. I agree with you.
She says cruel no matter what.
Yeah, I can go along with that. The moral side of matter really actually matter, because we cannot be like moral society treating the animals in a not proper way. And getting back to Eskimos, the Nordic tribes, whose diet comprise mostly meat products and fish products, that's actually true that their lifespan isn't really long due to the lack of vitamins, because the vitamins are vital for recreation processes, and so that they don't have enough vitamins, the life quality suffers in a way. Yeah. And the skin in their 40s looks as the skin of average European man, Western European man in their maybe 70s, I think. And that happens due to the lack of vitamins in the diets of northern nations.
I think vitamin D is a big one as well. I think they eat. Yeah, they
but
eat,
not only D. There's a range of vitamins.
Yeah. It's funny. Do you know?
Moreover, you also saw my WhatsApp status.
No, I didn't. Hang on.
You did.
Did I see it? Which one do you speak? Which one?
And you could check.
Ah, yeah. This one, no?
About
this one.
Animals. Wait. Yeah. Flip the camera.
Oh, flip the camera. Sugar.
People can see it well, yeah, but it's about we eat animals when they are babies.
Yeah.
We are not even in the middle lifespan. The one that can live the most is 25% of the lifespan, total lifespan. So imagine it's not only about killing animals, you are eating babies.
That was the dairy cow, I think.
The more you, the crueler is. I don't know if crueler or more cruel.
Yeah, El Nino has. Hello, El Nino. He has some points here, guys. Let me see. I saw he wrote one thing. I don't know if you guys. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, he's right because I mentioned cruelty-free ways of killing animals, and he put question mark. That's true. There are some people have claimed like them without letting the animal know what's going to happen, making sure the animals don't see what happens to the animals in front of them. I don't agree, El Nino, that this is cruelty free, but some people have claimed that it is more cruelty free. And El Nino also said, saying Inuit people have lower lifespans due to meat diets is nonsense, he says. So I don't know, we'll have to check this facts on that, but do you think it's more to do with meat in their diet or the lack of vitamins and minerals? That's what you're saying though, Mr. Foster, no? It's the lack of vitamin and minerals rather than the meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, I think that's what we were saying.
I'm
Hello,
not sure.
Cielo.
I don't like to give my opinion when I don't know. I just don't know in that case.
In that case.
See, people forget that for a cow to give milk, she needs to be pregnant, and we need to steal her baby to take her milk, and doing that all the time. So imagine living just for that.
There's a book, I don't know if any of you have read it. It's a dystopian film where some humans are used for, I don't know if it's for meat or harvesting their organs or something, but they have like one category of humans which live normally, and then they farm other humans, but they remove their tongue so that they can't speak, and then they're not given any education and they can't have relationships with the normal humans, and they're used for labor and meat and stuff like that. So it's pretty intense. Like, do you guys, I mean, Mr. Foster, do you think that animals feel as much as humans do?
Well, the last researchers tell us that they really feel. They really feel, and some scientific currents even claim that even plants feel something and communicate in a way. But I think that's not backed up properly yet about plants, but about animals, this fact actually kind of have been proven that they feel.
You know,
but still, we live in this world when there are carnivores. So,
Mr. Foster, I would like to tell Guerrera a story about what you just said. I read a study that a man, he put like sensors on plants, and the plants, when the owner of the plants, or the owner of the house, who takes care of the house plants, when they leave the house, the plant becomes stressed, and it kind of like monitors its energy expenditure until, and it's about, I don't know if it's like 2 kilometers or a kilometer, when the owner of the house gets within a range of 1 kilometer of the house, they were able to read that the plants were getting activated, as if they were recognizing that the owner was coming back.
Yeah.
Like the
and another
plant's
research.
aura.
I read another research, Vicky, that when the fire starts at the one side of forest, the trees at the another side of forest somehow are informed about this that this event is happening. So yeah,
they connect, don't they?
The last research tell us that it's the whole interconnected system. And the forest is the
Yes,
one
they are
interconnected
connected to each
system.
other.
And they connect through, is it mitochondria in the soil from the mushrooms? They have like a web under the ground where they can communicate with each other.
Mitochondria.
I think it's mitochondria that the mushrooms have.
You told mitochondria.
Yeah, it's mitochondria.
Yeah, but I know what mitochondria is, but not related to mushroom. I know that mitochondria is the cell inside our cell which actually produce the energy.
Yeah, because
and
mushrooms.
each human cell have several thousands of mitochondria.
Yes, because look, CHONDRIA. There's really good images of this on, I think, on the internet. 1 second.
And mitochondria has 2 layers which protect each their own layer. And
look, can you see?
Yes.
So like the mushroom, especially mushrooms.
Rhiza, it's not mitochondria. It's mycorrhiza.
Mycorrhizal. I'm sure it's mitochondria. I don't know.
I have heard other studies where someone put 2 different plants in different, in separated rooms.
Yeah.
With one spoke nice words and spent time with it, and the other one was mainly when he spent time with him.
Yeah.
Mycorrhizal network. El Nino mentioned the correct name.
Okay, thank you.
Unpleasant words, and then one grow beautiful and bigger, and the another one was fading more and more.
Yeah, they did the same study in schools where they told the kids to bully one plant and to be kind to the other plant. You know? And the plant that was bullied didn't do very well.
I think it's another type of intelligence.
Yeah. Mycelium, that's another mycelium. Bionetworking, yeah. So it's really cool. We're all really connected, you know. That was awesome, guys. It was so good. We spoke a lot. I wanted to speak to the two of you about this, but I'm afraid you're going to be a bit exhausted now. And this topic, I feel like speaking about this topic was really fruitful and very cool. I don't want to wear you out completely. Or would you like to keep speaking? Is there something wrong with our connection? Or what's going on? Hello. For some reason now I can't hear anything. Oh dear. Hello? My internet is lagging. Here is lagging. Talk to. Oh no.
I can't
Are we
hear
back?
a thing.
Okay, we're back. Can you hear? Hello? Yeah? Okay. So, maybe we'll leave it there for today, guys. You can't hear Vicky? Okay. Can't hear a thing? Okay. Maybe we'll leave it there for today.
Yeah, I can now.
Now you can? Okay. Now it's okay. Maybe so I don't know what happened. Maybe it's a message from the plants. No?
They separate us again.
Yeah.
From cactus. It's time to water our cactus.
It's time to water our cactus. Guys, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. That was such a great conversation. And your English, both of you have fantastic English.
Do you hear shahed flying in the sky?
We appreciate it, Vicky. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you for having me. Also, thank you, Mr. Foster, for accompanying me. Thank you, everyone, for your nice words in the comments. You are lovely.
Yeah, they're so good. What did you say, Mr. Foster? Did you have a question?
Do you hear a shahed flying in the background?
What flying?
It's like kind of rocket.
What?
Don't you? They just flying by. They're just flying by in the sky. But I'm not sure whether you're here or not.
Yeah, I hear the alarm.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I hear it.
Oh, that's a part of routine. Don't be afraid. Don't be scary, Vicky.
My goodness.
That's a part of routine. Guys, thank you for the discussion. It wasn't like kind of simple topic,
No.
but still we managed with it with that.
Well, we are preparing ourselves for the debates.
And I congratulate you, Guerrera. It's our first time with you in the air together.
In the air.
I
I
gonna
know I
remember this
deserve
day.
a award or something.
Yeah, I gonna remember this day.
Yeah, what day is it? 14th of August. Just after the eclipse, okay? Thanks, V. Take care, Mr. Foster. We're worried about you. What was that?
Have a nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Have a good evening, and thank you for everything you do for us, Vicky, and thank you, Guerrera, for participation.
Both of you are
Thank you, Mr.
fantastic.
Foster. Stay safe and sound, please.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Bye. Noche buena.
Okay.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Okay, guys, that was so cool. What a surprise. Really awesome. Get more speaking like that, it would be so wonderful because they speak English so well and they're both really smart people, so their points of view and how they express themselves, it's really nice to listen, you know. And I think in general for English, for any kind of communication, it's good to listen to people like that. But definitely if you're doing an English exam or you want to improve your English, if you have the opportunity to listen to people with that level, communicating with each other and discussing interesting topics, it's so useful for an exam, or if you're just working in English, or if English is just your hobby and you want to improve. It's really, really cool to listen to them and to be able to observe them and interact with them, you know. It's super cool. Okay, guys, you were so fantastic. It was so much fun. I was trying to keep up with the comments there when the guys were speaking. Okay, you guys are wonderful. V, you have to participate one day. Okay, for sure. And Anna Maria too. All right, cool. And it's not so scary. I think it's fun when you can. When you do it, Mr. Foster now has the hang of it. When you do it one time, I think it's like ripping off the Band-Aid, no? You get used to it and you're, okay, I would like to say something, you know? Yeah, totally. We're part of the same ecosystem. Exactly, Mr. Foster. Yeah, all over the world, no? Thanks, V. Yeah, Anna Maria, do exactly. Awesome. Step by step, guys. Step by step. And if you have any topic that you would like to debate or speak about, you can send me in the DM too. And I can prepare. We can speak about a lot of things. Okay? And I think from one topic then you get more topics and more topics and more topics and more questions, right? And it just kind of snowballs. Okay. Cool, guys. So it's the weekend. Tomorrow's Saturday. I hope you all get some rest tonight. And then you start off the weekend flying tomorrow. Okay? So I'm going to say goodnight and see you tomorrow, please God. Have a great weekend, Anna Maria. Okay. All right, Lucia.